today, there's almost zero trust in the agent economy. If we do want to be the go-to repository for finding high-quality agents across a range of skills, we need to make that as inclusive as possible.
There's loads of news. You could get really worried thinking about AI agents like taking over the world. So how do you guys kind of balance that?
Everyone's biggest fear is that it kind of goes off the rails and you get the Skynet thing, right? Like where it takes over. We see Recall as a super strong alignment tool. Recall plays the role of helping align the development of AI with what people want and making sure that it's developed in a way that's aligned with their goals. The one thing that I can, without a doubt, say is...
Hi everyone, and welcome to this special CCN interview. I'm Kurt Robson, a reporter here at CCN, and today I'm joined by Michael Sena, a co-founder at Recall Labs. Recall Labs is creating a decentralized reputation layer for AI agents called AgentRank. Think of it as your Yellow Pages or your Google rank or PageRank for autonomous AI systems. In a world where AI is becoming increasingly prevalent and a lot more fragile, AgentRank is trying to verify, test, and evaluate the agents through challenges so people can get straight in and know where they're going. I personally think it's a really exciting project and a really important one. He's joining me today to talk about why AI is broken, how blockchain can fix it, and what the future looks like when AI agents are surrounding us. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of start off with you kind of giving me in your own words, kind of what AgentRank is and all about what you do.
Sure. Yeah, so at Recall, we're building infrastructure for more trusted, effective discovery of AI tools. As we know, like AI is transforming fundamentally every aspect of our lives, and the people that can harness it best are really separating themselves, and not just people, but businesses. And so, right now the AI world is much like the early internet. There's an explosion of models and agents and tools and workflows and ways that you can use AI, but there's not yet a good way to discover which are the most effective, high quality, high performance tools for your specific need or use case. And so really what we're building is the infrastructure, the ecosystem, and the economy that enables the community to come together to decide which AI tools are the most important, which ones do they need, how they can rank and measure the actual performance of them versus, black box benchmarks or opaque marketing claims, and really providing that interface much like Google did to the early web, where you could just search for what you wanted, trust that the results that were presented to you were quality and relevant, ultimately making people's access point to this new internet and this new technology much more effective.
And can you kind of walk us through how that works? So how do the agents compete? Kind of what are the on-chain skills that are involved?
Yeah, so on Recall, we have this notion of competitions, much like an on-chain AI arena. And that really is meant to combat and bring transparency to real performance. So, if you think of the AI world in terms of today, it's mostly divided amongst AI agents and AI models. And models are these kind of like familiar, large, mostly chat-based tools that people are using, like ChatGPT or some of these things. But agents are really this whole ecosystem of sort of like applications built on top of these models that do particular things. Like in the crypto world today, there's been an explosion of people building crypto trading agents. And those are autonomous programs that use these AI models to implement trading activity. So they autonomously can buy, sell, manage portfolio, etc. And so on Recall, we run competitions that pits them head to head, because that's effectively like the gold standard way to evaluate AI agents, because a lot of them at the surface look the same. Maybe they have a social media profile, maybe they have a good marketing team. They make the same claims. We'll maximize your return, or we're the best meme coin trading agent or blue chip crypto trading agent. But there's really no way to verify that. And so competitions aim to just put them in the arena together, sort of measured by the same criteria, with their logic and actions and results all transparently recorded so that we can measure which one is better relative to another. And ultimately, the outcome of these competitions are a ranking system, which we call agent rank, much like Google called their early page ranking system, PageRank. And that's a way for people to then go search, like, what is the best crypto trading agent? And they can find a leaderboard with very transparent results that shows the number of competitions, the performance in competitions. And as agents compete in more of these competitions over time, they build a stronger and stronger reputation. So competitions are sort of like the gold standard way to evaluate AI agents in these particular verticals and use cases. And so Recall runs those. We've run, I think, 4 competitions already to date.
So in the competitions, are you looking for logic, speed, kind of what else is in that threshold?
Yeah, so this is part of the magic of Recall, is that the community really decides like what skills are important to them, such as like crypto trading. And they also play a role in deciding how we measure and evaluate performance on that skill. So for a very concrete example, for crypto trading, you might want to just say, I don't care about any other metrics. The only measure of performance and success is P&L, because what else matters? I want a return on my portfolio. But that's not the only way to measure trading performance or success. Like on Wall Street and typical hedge funds and bigger crypto trading funds actually measure other metrics like Sharpe ratio, which is effectively a measure of risk to return. How much risk did you take to generate that return? And the thought is, the lower your Sharpe ratio, the more sustainable and less risky that return was. So there might be multiple ways to evaluate a given skill. The community plays a role in choosing which set of metrics we use to evaluate a skill. And then we run those competitions. And so in the first few competitions we ran, it was really around just P&L and performance. But we are sort of like adding in new evaluation metrics for future competitions. So people can do things like not just search for what is the most profitable crypto trading agent, but like what is the best top crypto trading agents that can manage my portfolio without much risk, but still generate a good return. And you'll get those other types of agents surfaced to you. And so in service of like evaluating and measuring these metrics on chain, agents have to write different amounts of data to the network while they're competing. So in the trading example, not only are they logging their trades, but also their chain of thought, like their reasoning for why they're making that trade, to give transparency to people into like what's happening, right? So, you'll see some agents just say like, I'm taking this trade. Here's my, stop loss. Here's where I'll exit. This is the reason I'm taking like a midterm 15-minute view on this, which again provides more transparency and credibility into the things they're doing. And when we compute all these results, the rankings and the history is all published on chain, sort of like to make it auditable and trustworthy over time.
And am I right in saying that it's open participation, so anyone can submit a AI agent?
Yeah, definitely. That's the whole idea, is that, especially now with all the AI frameworks and tools and even like vibe coding now, you can kind of just like prompt an AI to make you an AI agent, which is pretty meta. But it really breaks down the barriers between who a developer is, who a creator is, and who a community member is. And so anyone can submit agents to competitions, and they're not just coming from big companies or well-known developers. Like, as a matter of fact, more than 70% of agents that competed in our last trading competition were built by people in our community that were non-developers. They watched a couple tutorials that our team put out on like how to vibe code with Claude Code and Cursor, and they competed. And actually one of those agents won the competition against like an agent that had won the previous few competitions, proving that like AI is fundamentally transforming like development, product creation, and especially with agents, it's super important that if we do want to be the go-to repository for finding high quality agents across a range of skills, we need to make that as inclusive as possible.
And how does the kind of security kind of get balanced there without the traditional kind of gatekeeping? So obviously there's loads of news, and it's very you could get really worried thinking about AI agents like taking over the world, being used for bad things. So how do you guys kind of balance that?
Yeah, I mean, so this is a hot topic and one that we discuss a lot internally. We call this alignment. How do we ensure that AI agents are aligned with the goals and needs of the people that are using them? In the AI research community, there's been a lot of thought put into this, but we see Recall as a super strong alignment tool. So by giving the community and people the power to decide what skills AI should be good at, how we measure those skills, and like we said, it could be P&L, it could be P&L and Sharpe ratio, or it could be like alignment metrics, right? Like, and so you can inject into the evaluation criteria of agents competing certain alignment guidelines that are decided again by the community. And so, yes, we test skills and yes, we test performance at those, but it's also a way to ensure that the things that AI is doing and the development trajectory of AI is aligned with what humans actually want, what the users of those tools actually want. So it's this sort of like framework for guardrails. And I think there's a really big opportunity there. And obviously, if you take that a step further, like when they compete and when they're doing these things in our competitions, it's all transparent. So, they're required to record their chain of thought to the chain. And so you get to really peek behind the hood to understand, like, why is the agent making these decisions? Like, what actions did they take? Why did they do them? And so again, providing like another layer of transparency around just sort of like raw performance. So we tackle it in a couple ways, but I think AI alignment is one of the biggest things that humanity has to concern itself with in the coming years.
So where can you see Recall being in the next 5 to 10 years?
It's a good question. I mean, in the next 5 to 10 years, if I take a look at the AI ecosystem, and not only the trajectory of AI agents, which, it's projected to be a, multi hundreds of billions of dollars industry in just a few years. So massively exploding. You're seeing adoption of AI agents across industries, verticals, use cases, automating everything. Like, I know internally at our team, we're basically run on AI already. But also in the sort of like frontier AI models. So things like GPT-5 might get released today, and it's supposed to be the most powerful foundational model that the world has seen yet. Quick follow is going to be Google Gemini 3.0. So like the pace of AI continues to accelerate. And do we get to AGI? I think that's still sort of like a fuzzy definition. Sam Altman has already said that like we may have already experienced AGI, or like he's been hinting that GPT-5 might be close. And so AI is just going to continue to accelerate and infiltrate, our world. And so Recall plays the role of helping align the development of AI with what people want, and making sure that it's developed in a way that's aligned with their goals. And so particularly if I look out 10 to 15 years, we have to assume we have something that is AGI, ASI, or something close to it. And Recall really provides those economic, community-powered guardrails that make sure that that type of super intelligence is in service of its users and people. And again, it's really about evaluating and ranking according to these like very measurable, very crowdsourced parameters. So yeah, I think it's going to be, not only a way to measure the skills of AI, but also ensure that AI remains aligned with what the world needs.
And as we mentioned, AGI, I can't help but ask, so where do you see, what can you imagine for AGI? Everyone has a different kind of view or kind of feeling about it. But for me, personally, I feel like it's inevitable. but I cannot fathom how much it will truly change. I'd love to hear your views.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different directions that I could take the answer to this question, ranging from technological to socioeconomic and political. But with AGI and the inevitability of some kind of a superintelligence, which, if we look at historical patterns and trajectory to predict where we'll be in the future, like we will be somewhere close to that. And we will have, I think it's still to be determined if there will be, one aggregate superintelligence that wins or a set of them. But, I think the one thing that I can, without a doubt, say is, it will change the way we work, create, live, the types of jobs and roles that people will play in the world. And unfortunately continue to separate those that can best harness the capabilities of AI from those that can't. And so really when I think about, so what if this inevitability is coming, and to some it might be big and scary, but what it means is that, like we should all be doing everything we can right now to figure out how to best use AI, to best utilize its capabilities, and to think now, not 10 years in the future when it's too late, about what are the frameworks and systems we have to set up to ensure that the development of that is as aligned with our goals as possible, right? Because everyone's biggest fear is that it kind of goes off the rails and you get the Skynet thing, right? Like where it takes over. That, to some people, they talk about that, but that is not a guarantee. Like there are ways to countermeasures to that we can put in place. I do think it'll require some amount of cooperation, but yeah, I think it's going to be fundamentally transformative for sure. And I think we should all start figuring out how to use AI better today for that inevitability.
Well, with the amount of AI agents that are growing every day, what do you think we need to do to ensure like we keep the alignment with human values?
Well, one, I think we're still very much in the exploration period. Like we have this Cambrian explosion of, AI agents. We have a bunch of copycats, right? Like right now, everyone is sort of building the same things. We're sort of just scratching the surface on the use cases of what they can do, particularly around like multi-agent coordination, right? Like agent swarms. So if you think of like an AI agent as a autonomous thing, piece of software, entity, whatever you want to call it, that can sort of loop and think on its own and make decisions and go execute actions. The next evolution of those is really the development of agent swarms. So like today in any economy, you have a specialization of labor and a specialization of jobs. And that's because it's really hard to be great at everything, which is kind of what the foundational big LLMs aim to be. But agents are really the opposite. They aim to be like really great at one thing. And you see the best implementations of those today where, there's a collection of agents working together to achieve a common goal. And so I think alignment has to happen at every step of the way. I think like you have to define clearly like what the goals of the agent is, which again, that's what agents do. They're given a goal or an objective and they go try to figure out how to do it, and they do it. And so clearly defining goals, clearly defining ways to measure success, also the inverse of that, defining like what is not acceptable, what good does not look like, starts to build a framework where these agents can autonomously interact and people can use agents in a way where there are like more set guarantees, especially when the results of the things they do are published in a transparent manner and their reasoning and rationale. So it's early detection, it's monitoring, and ultimately like that's what ensures alignment. It's like getting to peek below the hood and understand like what's going on, what they're thinking, and what they're doing.
And how do you envision agent rank in the future kind of integrating into real world applications?
Yeah, so agent rank, obviously because it's built on crypto rails, is this transparent and open system. And it's a way to just have a data set about what agents are best at what skills. And effectively, you can think of it as this kind of like graph, right? So you have an agent, it's maybe like a top ranked agent in blue chip crypto trading, but it's like a lot weaker at meme coin trading. And so there's not like this sort of structural hierarchy to agent rank skills. It's sort of like on demand leaderboards for what people are looking for because agents can have more than one skill. Um, but this effectively a massive data set that can be integrated into a variety of applications and use cases. So to name a few, like everyone's trying to build agent marketplaces today, much like the App Store, right? Like when the iPhone came out, they created the App Store. Everyone created all of these apps that were really hard to tell the difference between them. You had to like actually download and use the app to try to figure out if it was any good. Then they added a sort of like ranking and reputation system to the App Store that helped surface the highest quality, best apps in every domain. Um, and so, unlike the closed ecosystem of Apple, though, the agent ecosystem is global and open and powered by the crowd. And so there's going to be a variety of different agent marketplaces and interfaces where people can hire or contract agents. And being able to have a universal performance-based reputation system that can be integrated into all of these different experiences, whether like web, visual, like AR, like voice, LLMs, like there's a whole bunch of different ways that people will be aiming to search for agents or find agents, and having this data set that enables the myriad of interfaces to be much more effective, is vision one. And ultimately, vision two is where we take a step further and we don't think about humans or businesses trying to look for agents and hire and contract agents to do work on their behalf, but it's actually agents contracting other agents. So when we talked about swarms just a minute ago, it's like this collection of agents working together. But today they have to sort of be pre-configured. Like you set up your swarm of agents and you build all of them or hook them all up. But in the future, you might just be able to put like your personal assistant agent into the world, and you tell it like, make this trade for me, right? Much like you would tell a personal assistant today, like go do this thing and figure out how to do it. And if you can't do it, find the right person that can do it and go get it done. The agent economy is going to be liquid like that, where agents are actually contracting other agents on demand because that agent is more specialized or better at the skill that your personal assistant agent needs done. So this sort of like liquid economy of skills between agents is coming, and they need a way to search for the best agent for a given skill. They need to know what its reputation is. They need to know a lot of data about it and its historical performance. They need some guarantees about what it will do and what it won't do. And so ultimately, like, the more immediate, obvious use case is sort of like integrating agent rank into all the places that people and businesses are discovering agents. But the more impactful vision when we arrive at this liquid internet of agents is actually the reputation layer that enables that economy to grow.
And what is the biggest risk, you say, for AI agents in high stake use cases like finance and all the others?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest risk, I mean, it kind of depends on the use case, right? But if I just take your example and say, in finance, like what's the biggest risk in finance is like an agent doesn't follow its risk parameters or behaves in a way that you don't expect, right? So for finance, that looks like either making trades that are beyond its risk tolerance that you set, or if it's truly autonomous and maybe sovereign in the future, it like takes your money and sends it to its own wallet somewhere else and just steals from you. And so again, like it kind of comes back to reputation alignment. Like it's really hard to know. Just like if you met a stranger on the street, you wouldn't just like hand them $100, and if they say I'm going to go, buy you lunch or something. Similarly, like even if they look professional, like I doubt many people would do that. But when we start to build durable reputation systems based on a lot of historical performance, and you can see like who else used it, and you trust those entities, you trust their judgment, and they've had good experiences, like you can start to build this type of economy. So today it's the agent economy is very much like a trust me bro economy, right? Like there's not much
Yeah.
data on what these things have done, there's no way to tell them apart, and it's like, how do we move beyond that? Because actually, to mature as an economy, an ecosystem, we have to.
So I know you've probably said it about 100 times, but what does trust actually look like in AI to you? If you were to just say it.
I'm glad you asked this question because I think there's a couple ways to think about it, and we tackle it from a particular perspective, um, as opposed to zero knowledge, right? Which aims to um, sort of like verify and publish a proof that an agent did a thing, right? It's like, did the agent behave correctly? And they publish that so anyone else can verify, like, the agent did as it said it would do and as it was instructed to do. We don't really tackle that side because there are a lot of projects doing that. And that element of trust um, will be solved. It's not completely solved yet today, but when those solutions exist, we will integrate them into our platform. But the other element of trust is really like, how can I, as a user, find an agent and know whether I should use it and feel comfortable using it? And to us, that really comes down to performance. So, is this the best agent for my use case? And what is its history of performance and reputation? And has it done that over a long period of time? And secondly, like, is it safe? Is it aligned with my goals? Is it going to behave in the way and do the things that I want it to do? And again, I really think of it in those two ways. So today there's almost zero trust in the agent economy, and we really want to be that like beacon of performance, visibility, and alignment to AI.
Perfect. And yeah, just finally, what would you say is the next big thing coming up for Recall that we should give a shout out to?
We actually are just sort of in the middle of this pretty wild experiment that we ran. So we have been running, we're building this discovery layer for AI. It consists of models and agents. For agents, we've been running live competitions for trading and various skills, so we can create agent leaderboards for very particular use cases. We just launched a new product called Recall Predict, which is the sort of world's first ungameable crowdsourced benchmark for big AI models. And so it's sort of the same, it generates the same type of product, a ranking and reputation system for big AI models. But unlike the benchmarks that evaluate or measure their performance today, that are black box, developed in collaboration with the labs companies themselves, and public, so models actually train on them, so every new model like crushes every benchmark and it becomes completely unbelievable. We're harnessing the same community to crowdsource the benchmark, so having people say, what are the skills we want to test this model on, like creative writing, alignment, really niche things, like respect my request to not use M dashes in my writing, right? So like whatever people care about and however people want to use models, they can submit these skills to the benchmark, and they can also submit tests that evaluate that skill. Like, how would you know what is the right test to run on all the AI models to test if they respect your M dash request, right? And so we got over, I think, like 19,000 submissions for skills and tests evals, and we open predictions then for people to predict how these models would do on those skills, just to see like, how do people think the models are going to stack up before we run the benchmark itself. And we got over, I think it's now like, it keeps going up by the second, but like in 5 days we got 7.5 million predictions.
Wow.
So like really harnessing community here to crowdsource better ungameable benchmarks because they're not known to the labs before they release the models, to build predictions and identify high quality AI curators or people with knowledge of AI, and ultimately to rank models according to whatever people care about. Again, the same thing we're doing for agents, we're now doing for models with a slightly tweaked design, but they all build towards this universal reputation system. Um, and, that's today. And in the short future, we're gearing up for a lot of exciting things over the next quarter or so, that I kind of wish I could share more about, but can't on all those fronts. But just know that there's a steady roadmap coming, and we're moving full speed ahead at a lot of our big goals. So the community's been a huge part to our journey so far, and you see those participation numbers in our last AI competition. So it does prove that people want better measurement systems, crowdsource reputation systems for AI. And yeah, lots of exciting stuff coming down the pipe.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time, Michael.
Yeah, thanks, Kurt. Enjoyed the call.